One of the great things about this ceremony every year is we bring people back, and it's great to see everyone. And so thank you for coming, and thanks for all of our awardees, many of which have traveled long distances to come here today. And we have three deans in the room. So both Ed and Mike are here, so it's great to have everyone. So welcome. It's our 2019 award and portrait presentation. It really is a time for us to celebrate Hopkins and celebrate the rich heritage of this institution. This afternoon, we're going to honor 19 medical leaders who've greatly influenced medicine and science. Again, thank you for having traveled here. It's a really delight for me to have a partner to help today, which is Dr. John Thompson, who's the president of the Johns Hopkins Medical and Surgical Association. He's a 1977 Krieger graduate, a 1980 School of Medicine graduate. He's going to give the Distinguished Medical Alumni Award, and then Susan DeMoth is going to come up and give the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association Awards, one of which Bev Redlin's going to help, who's the Dean of the Krieger School. So thank you all for helping out today, and John, please join.
I better get near the microphone. Thank you very much. I'm truly honored to be asked to speak to you on behalf of the Johns Hopkins Medical and Surgical Association. And we would be here all evening if I shared all of the tremendous accomplishments, but I promise I won't do that for you. But please see more information in your program books about our very distinguished awardees. Today's first award presentation are for the Distinguished Medical Alumnus Award that honors these alumni, and these could include degree recipients, house staff, former faculty, fellows of the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine and Johns Hopkins Hospital, who have demonstrated excellence and achievement through their personal and professional accomplishments. And we went through these nominations. It was very difficult to choose the recipients because we had so many worthy people. Our first recipient is Dr. Howard Markle. Dr. Markle is the first of two honorees currently at the University of Michigan, yay Michigan, where he received his bachelor's and his medical degrees. He trained at the Johns Hopkins Hospital in General Pediatrics and received his PhD in the history of medicine, science, and technology at the School of Medicine. He is an expert in pandemic preparedness, and his research was essential in developing evidence-based work during the 2009 influenza pandemic. Howard, please come up to receive your award. Our next distinguished medical alumnus is Dr. Rain Saral. Dr. Saral's major accomplishments include being the first physician to use bone marrow transplantation in the treatment of AIDS-related malignancies, and among the first to use it in the treatment of sickle cell anemia and other inherited blood disorders, and also being the first to demonstrate effectiveness of a safe antiviral therapy, acyclovir, against herpes viruses in transplant patients. Dr. Saral headed the National Institute of Health Bone Marrow Transplant Study Section to determine appropriate use of bone marrow transplantation for the treatment of human diseases. Rain, congratulations on receiving the Distinguished Alumnus Award. Please come forward. Thank you. And third, Dr. Christina Witten is our distinguished medical alumni. After receiving her medical degree at Johns Hopkins, Dr. Witten completed anesthesiology residency at the U.S. Naval Medical Hospital in Portsmouth, Virginia, as well as fellowships in regional anesthesia and intensive care. Dr. Witten believes that education leads to better patient care. Her books, as well as her training videos on intubation and airway management, are used throughout training programs both nationally and internationally. Christine, please come up to receive your award. I would now like to welcome Susan DeMuth, Assistant Vice President and Executive Director of the Johns Hopkins Alumni Organization, on stage to present the Alumni Association Awards.
Good afternoon. It's really great to be back. I actually started my 23-year career here at School of Medicine, so I feel like I've come home again. Thank you, Dr. Thompson. I'm honored to participate in today's ceremony as we recognize a remarkable group of people. I would also like to add a welcome to all of today's guests on behalf of the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association. It's a true honor to be a part of this program. The Johns Hopkins Alumni Association represents all 9 academic divisions of Johns Hopkins. It truly says something about the accomplishments of those associated with Johns Hopkins Medicine to have such a distinguished gathering of recipients in our presence today. We will now present awards to those individuals who have been named by the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association as Distinguished Alumnus for 2019. Established in 1978, the Distinguished Alumnus Award honors those who have typified the Johns Hopkins tradition of excellence and have brought credit to the university through their personal accomplishments, professional achievement, or humanitarian service. Today we celebrate 6 Johns Hopkins Alumni Association Distinguished Alumni. I invite Dean Rothman to congratulate the awardees. The first recipient of the 2019 Distinguished Alumnus Award is Dr. Alan Hoffman. Dr. Hoffman is a gastrointestinal physiologist, biochemist, and clinician who is notable for his extensive basic, translational, and clinical research on bile acids and lipid digestion. Since 1977, he has been in the Division of Gastroenterology at University of California, San Diego, where he is currently Professor Emeritus of Medicine. He has influenced and mentored a large number of researchers with his ideas, knowledge, and support. Dr. Hoffman is not able to be with us today. Dr. Mark Donowitz, who submitted the nomination for the award, will accept on his behalf. Dr. Donowitz. So Dr. Lee is in traffic. I believe we're going to go ahead and present to the family. Okay. This is the next one? Okay. I beg your pardon. On the fly. We would now like to recognize Dr. Brett Nelson. At Mass General Hospital for Children, Dr. Nelson is a pediatrician, newborn hospitalist, and global health faculty member whose research interests are health care provisions for vulnerable populations, particularly newborns, children, and individuals affected by conflict and crisis around the globe. Given children's inherent vulnerability, he is grateful and humbled by the opportunity to work with these populations in giving them greater voice and in attempting to eliminate or mitigate the tragic impact of global poverty, crisis, and conflict upon newborn and child health. Dr. Nelson's award will be presented by the Bloomberg School of Public Health, and we're delighted to have him with us today. Dr. Nelson, would you please stand to be recognized? The next recipient of the 2019 Distinguished Alumna Award is Dr. Linda Rosenstock. Dr. Rosenstock served 12 years as Dean of UCLA Fielding School of Public Health, as well as Director of the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. She is a recognized authority in occupational environmental health, as well as global public health and science policy, and was appointed by President Barack Obama to the Advisory Group on Prevention, Health Promotion, and Integrative and Public Health. Dr. Rosenstock, would you please come forward and accept your award? The next recipient of the Distinguished Alumnus Award is Dr. Marshall Runge. The University of Michigan Board of Regents appointed Dr. Runge Executive Vice President for Medical Affairs and CEO of Michigan Medicine in 2015 and Dean of the Medical School in 2016. We are pleased to welcome Dr. Runge back to Johns Hopkins, where he received his medical degree and completed the Osler House Staff Residency Program. Dr. Runge, please come forward to accept your award. The next recipient of the 2019 Distinguished Alumnus Award is Dr. Charles Djou. After medical school, residency, and faculty positions at Johns Hopkins, Dr. Djou joined faculty of the Sidney Kimmel Cancer College at Jefferson University Hospitals in 2005. Dr. Djou's primary interests and research have been in the field of alimentary tract surgery, focusing on the evaluation of patients with pancreatic biliary, I'm saying that wrong, I apologize. I knew it. And related cancer, and the management of patients with unusual pancreatic neoplasms, as well as acute and chronic pancreatitis. Geez, I actually practiced this too. He has personally performed over 1,500 Whipple procedures and has credited his skill to the training he received under Dr. John Cameron, starting in the mid-1980s. Dr. Djou, please forgive me, and would you please come forward to accept your award? We will now present the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association Community Hero Award that recognizes outstanding contributions that address critical social, economic, and environmental needs throughout our society and communities, including local communities. Dr. Lance Chilton receives the Community Hero Award for his work with Native American children in New Mexico. He is currently chair of the American Academy of Pediatrics Council on Community Pediatrics and a former New Mexico Pediatric Society president and District 8 vice chair. He and his wife, Catherine, are also involved in early literacy efforts in Albuquerque, and as we applaud their work, we welcome them home to Hopkins today. Dr. Chilton, would you please come forward and accept your award? Congratulations. We're going to go back in time. I understand Dr. Lee's here? Great, okay. The second recipient of the 2019 Distinguished Alumnus Award is Dr. Andrew Lees. The Krieger School of Arts and Sciences submitted the nomination for Dr. Lees' award, and I invite Dr. Beverly Wendland, the James B. Knapp Dean of the Krieger School, to join Dr. Rothman in presenting this award. Dr. Wendland, would you come forward, please? Dr. Lees is responsible for chemical improvements to protein polysaccharide conjugate vaccines, some of the most complex vaccines to manufacture and say, but also known for producing stronger and longer lasting results than those comprised of polysaccharide alone. I'm so sorry. I really did practice this. His techniques have resulted in a better method for synthesizing conjugate vaccines for fatal childhood diseases. Please join me in a round of applause for Dr. Andrew Lees. The Johns Hopkins Alumni Association Global Achievement Award honors alumni who exemplify the Johns Hopkins tradition of excellence and have brought credit to the university and their profession in the international arena through their professional achievements or humanitarian service. This year, we are pleased to recognize 2 alumni for this award. The first recipient of the Global Achievement Award is Dr. James Kobe. Dr. Kobe is the 3rd member of the class of 1969, recognized at this year's ceremony, and one of 2 classmates celebrating their 50th reunion who have received the Nobel Peace Prize. Dr. Kobe shared the Nobel in 1997 for the international campaign to ban landmines as a member of Physicians for Human Rights. A founding board member of the G4 Alliance, Dr. Kobe has worked across the globe developing public health programs, assisting in refugee care, and studying epidemiology. Dr. Kobe, congratulations on receiving the Global Achievement Award. The next Global Achievement Award is presented to Dr. Gretchen Burbeck, who is in Zambia. Dr. Burbeck completed her clinical training in neurology and epilepsy at the Johns Hopkins Hospital. She served on faculty for Michigan State University for 13 years, and in 2013 joined the Department of Neurology at the University of Rochester with adjunct appointments in the School of Public Health and the Center for Experimental Therapeutics. She holds adjunct faculty positions with the University of Zambia and is the co-director of the Pediatric Neurodiagnostics Laboratory at Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital in Blantyre, Malawi. In Zambia, Dr. Burbeck is director of Chikankata Epilepsy Care Team in the rural southern province. Her work has included epidemiologic health services and clinical research aimed at elucidating risk factors for neurologic morbidity and mortality and developing interventions aimed at ameliorating this burden. She spends 5 to 6 months annually in Africa, and we acknowledge and congratulate her for her award. Our final award presented by the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association is the Outstanding Young Alumni Award, which honors recent graduates of the Johns Hopkins, meaning within 10 years of graduation, for outstanding achievement of service service in their professional or volunteer life. This year's recipient has made strides in his career that are truly outstanding, and we are sorry that Dr. Isaac Kinde is not able to be with us today. Join me in congratulating Dr. Kinde. He matriculated in the MSTP program at Johns Hopkins in 2005, received his MD PhD in 2015. His research in the lab of Dr. Bert Vogelstein laid the foundation for his work in developing techniques to improve the accuracy of DNA sequencing technology and demonstrating how it might be used to detect cancers arising from colon, pancreas, and ovaries in a simple, non-invasive manner. Kinde's work is inspired by a simple idea. Cancers are much easier to treat when detected early. Congratulations to Dr. Isaac Kinde for the success and work and for receiving the Outstanding Young Alumni Award. At this time, I will pass the podium back to Dr. Thompson to present the remainder of the awards.
Well, the next is Dr. Samuel Asper, a 1940 graduate of the School of Medicine who served as Dean of the American University of Beirut School of Medicine in the mid to late 1970s, established the Samuel B. Asper Award for Achievement in Advancing International Medical Education in 1996. The award recognizes members of the Johns Hopkins Medical and Surgical Association who, after training at Johns Hopkins, return to their home countries to make significant impact on the health and education of their fellow citizens. Past recipients have represented Panama, China, Mexico, Iran, Europe, as well as the United States. This year's recipient is Dr. Ernesto Bustamante. Dr. Bustamante earned his PhD in biochemistry, cellular molecular biology from the School of Medicine, and in the spirit of Dr. Asper's vision, This award returned to his home country of Peru to contribute to science in the academic, public service, and private corporate work worlds. He has served as professor in Lima, Peru, and visiting professor, researcher, or scholar at Johns Hopkins, the Universidad de Chile, as well as the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. We are grateful that Ernesto and his wife, Greti, have joined us from Lima, Peru, to accept this award. I'd like to welcome Ernesto to accept this award. It is now my pleasure to invite Dr. Ann Murphy, Professor of Pediatric Cardiology, and Dr. Carol Zeminski, Associate Professor of Rheumatology, to the podium to present our final award, the Johns Hopkins Women Medical Alumni Association Hall of Fame inductees. Ann and Carol.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Johns Hopkins Women's Medical Alumni Association Hall of Fame was established in 1993 to honor women who have made significant contributions to our community here at Johns Hopkins and to the larger world of medicine. The Hall of Fame recognizes women who have preceded us and women who have worked with us. It endeavors to bring to life the energy, enthusiasm, and passion of these individuals so that generations to come will have insight into the wide variety of accomplishments achieved by women in medicine at Johns Hopkins. The Hall of Fame citations are housed in the Mary Elizabeth Garrett Room, Halsted 106, a space which is designated for the exclusive use of the women medical and graduate students and physicians of the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine and Hopkins. We are delighted today to induct Katrina A. Armstrong into the Johns Hopkins Women's Medical Alumni Association Hall of Fame. Time does not permit me to read the full citation, which is displayed on the plaque that Dr. Murphy has. But Katrina came to Johns Hopkins as a medical student, completed her Osler residency in internal medicine, and served as Assistant Chief of Service, Hopkins' equivalent of Chief Resident. Dr. Armstrong is now the Jackson Professor of Clinical Medicine at the Harvard Medical School, Chair of the Department of Medicine, and Physician-in-Chief of the Massachusetts General Hospital. According to data from the American Association of American Medical Colleges, only 15% of department chairs are women. Thus, it is particularly noteworthy that Katrina is leading one of the most prominent academic departments in the world. We salute Katrina Armstrong for her commitment to diversity and the advancement of women, her dedication to education, mentoring, and research, and for blazing a trail in leadership. Katrina?
Let's give another hand to all the awardees. The portrait collection of the Johns Hopkins Hospital and the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine expands each year when distinguished faculty, trustees, directors, and others who've played a significant role at Johns Hopkins are honored through this portraiture. The institution's collection consists of more than 300 portraits honoring the great educators, investigators, leaders, and philanthropic supporters who've contributed to Johns Hopkins. I'd like to take a moment to recognize two of the artists who are with us today that helped with these four portraits, Lisa Gali and Sandra Djou. Can you please stand and be recognized? Where are they? Yes, Lisa. Thank you both. I'd like to introduce the first portrait presented today, Dr. Alan Parton.
Thank you, Dr. Rothman. It is truly an honor to present our first portrait honoree. Dr. Ballentine Carter is here today with his lovely wife, Lillian Carter. BAU Carter came to Johns Hopkins 3 decades ago. It was an important year. It was 1989, just 2 years after an important blood test that most men in the room are familiar with, called PSA, was released on the world. BAU Carter, over his 3 decades of research and clinical studies, has taught us how to use the PSA test, when to stop, when to start, how to measure it on a yearly basis. And through that, he made a discovery that has changed the entire world for how prostate cancer is treated, which is called active surveillance. 42% of men who are now diagnosed with prostate cancer don't receive any treatment at all. And that is thanks to BAU Carter's at least 2 decades and his staff, that I think every one of them came here today to be with him. And I want to honor him for all that he's done for the Brady Urological Institute and being a great friend of mine for the last 3 decades. Congratulations, BAU.
Next, I'd like to call upon Mr. James Garrett and Mr. David Hackham to come up. Dr. David Hackham.
Thank you very much. I'm proud to stand before you as the Robert Garrett Professor of Pediatric Surgery and to thus be connected with this amazing family. As the faculty, students, and most importantly, our tiny patients will attest, the generosity and leadership of Mr. Garrett has had a transformative impact on pediatric surgery at Hopkins. It was Mr. Garrett's vision that saw the completion of a new pediatric operative suite that bears his family's name, a suite that provides advanced surgical care to infants and children every day. And it is through the Garrett family's vision that we have been able to recruit the best and brightest pediatric surgeons to Hopkins and to give them the tools and the freedom to advance the field, from performing in utero surgery to discovering cures for neonatal surgical diseases, and in so doing, to care for society's most vulnerable patients in the most compassionate and advanced ways possible. I am honored to present Mr. James Garrett, brother of our honoree and chair of the Robert Garrett Fund for the Surgical Treatment of Children, who will share some reflections on his brother's amazing legacy. Jim.
Since it's a bit unusual, I gather, to have a posthumously painted portrait of someone who's not a Hopkins physician or staff member to be unveiled at this School of Medicine assembly. What's the connection? Well, Dr. Hackham has given a little bit of a hint of that. In the program today, there's a reference to the family legacy of JHU involvement. It really goes back to a very close friend and trustee of Mr. Johns Hopkins, our great-great-grandfather, John Wirt Garrett, whose daughter, Mary Elizabeth Garrett, of course, was one of the founders of the medical school. After Mary Elizabeth's brother died, his widow, Mary Frick Garrett, established in his memory the Robert Garrett Fund for the Surgical Treatment of Children. And years later, when our father, Harrison Garrett, who chaired the Garrett Fund's board, convinced the Harriet Lane and Uterwood Foundation boards to join up and to provide the dollars necessary to initiate the construction of the CMSC, the Children's Medical and Surgical Center. And then in 1994, Rob Garrett picked up the gavel of the Garrett board and led fresh conversations with Uterwood and Harriet Lane to commit the funds that enabled Dr. George Dover to launch the construction of the new Children's Center. Dr. Alex Haller, School of Medicine class of 1961, has put it this way: Rob Garrett carried forward the family's practice that provided unwavering support of the laboratory research and clinical care of children as the sharp focus of their intellectual and financial resources. Rob did so in fulfillment of Dr. Blaylock's vision that close cooperation between pediatrician and surgeon is imperative if proper care is to be carried out. And because of the close cooperation with pediatricians and surgeons by those who believe in the vision and work to make it possible through their philanthropic leadership, it's also imperative if proper care is to be carried out. Rob Garrett will be remembered as truly a champion of that vision.
Next, I'd like to invite Dr. Paul Sponsella to come up.
Good afternoon. Bladder exstrophy is one of the most serious birth defects imaginable. If you ask anybody in the world, in urology or pediatrics, where to get it reconstructed, they'll say, go to Johns Hopkins and ask for John Gearhart. And they will tell you he's made it his life's work to take care of these children. He's built the world-class exstrophy team at Hopkins. Families come yearly from around the world to reunite at the exstrophy picnic, and surgeons come to his various boot camps to learn the surgical techniques. Before team medicine was in vogue, he created a team which involved both urology, anesthesiology, general pediatric surgery, child life, nursing, and even orthopedics. And he's built this team not only using his surgical talent, but his personal magnetism and his, of course, great humor. My indelible memories of John are of him sitting back, talking with the family after surgery, turning on a little bit of Southern charm, telling some stories, and letting them know that their child will be in great hands for the next 10 to 15 or 20 years of their reconstructive journey. I've learned so much from John in our 33 years of working together in caring for these patients. There is no better person who embodies the ideal qualities of a physician. I hope this portrait by Sandy Dietzel, one of our nurses, will inspire generations of residents and students to carry a bit of the Gearhart style through their career. It will make them better doctors.
Next, I'd like to invite Dr. Justin Sachs.
Dr. Weiping Andrew Lee, Chicago by way of Taiwan, physics at Harvard, Hopkins Medical School to MGH plastic surgery training, a stop in Indiana for a hand fellowship, and then back to Boston for the academic climb of 90-90, 90% clinical and 90% research. In 2002, an email sent late at night by this junior resident to Dr. Lee, who was running the transport research lab at MGH, and by morning it was answered with a plan for the future. Off the pit, he builds a division into a department that collaborates with everyone inside his field of interest and outside in tissue engineering and craniofacial surgery. Hand transplants happen at rapid pace with a revolutionary experimental protocol. In 2004 in Pittsburgh, I joined the team as a research fellow and literally become an academic plastic surgeon that day. In 2010, Dr. Lee becomes the inaugural director of the newly minted Department of Plastic Surgery at Johns Hopkins. In 2011, I joined the team again after a stint in Texas. Quote, "Titles are not given, they are earned," end quote. We all go to work. 8 years later, exponential department clinical and research growth, hand transplants and penis transplants and preparations for face and uterus transplants, quite frankly, they get done due to a sheer will to move the field and us all forward. A collaborative spirit with a fierce and caring single-mindedness, we all stand on the shoulders of this giant. Consummate surgeon scientist, leader par excellence, collaborator of the highest order. Current Dean, Provost, and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs of the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center. Always our boss, always our mentor, always our friend. You lead with a collaborative spirit, and we will be stronger and wiser for it. Congratulations, Dr. Andrew Lee, for this immense honor.
So on behalf of Johns Hopkins Medicine, it gives me great pleasure to accept these 4 portraits. These individuals have made a difference here at Hopkins and have helped position us well for the future. I'd like to close the ceremony by thanking the spouses and partners, family members, friends, and colleagues who've joined us today to celebrate these 4 giants. Congratulations to all of the portrait inductees today, and we look forward to seeing everyone at the reception out in the lobby afterwards. So thanks everyone for coming today.